Let's move to Patrick in Minnesota. Hi, Patrick. Is it still cold in Minnesota, or has it gotten warm up there?
Well, it's chilly, Dr. Joe. I'll tell you that. It's not spring yet. It's certainly not summer. So.
Yeah, this morning in Nashville it was like
with you though, sir.
Yeah, it was like 39 degrees in Nashville this morning. Can you believe that? I mean, it's cold here.
Oh, hey. We consider that warm still.
I get that. I understand. How can I help you today, Patrick?
Well, Doctor, here's the situation. I'll try and keep this short because I could spend an hour, and I know you don't have that. But
Yeah.
My wife and I have been married for it'll be 33 years next month, and we've certainly had our share of ups and downs over the years. But in the last a couple of months ago, my wife sat down with me and expressed that she feels like we've both been unhappy for quite a while. We both deserve better. And kind of left it as an open-ended conversation. And we had a very good talk. And both agreed things were not what they should be or certainly could be. And it ended up where we really decided we were going to work on the marriage, and we looked into counseling and things like that. And about a week later, it was a complete flip, and we need to get a divorce, and it started this 100-mile-an-hour race toward filing for divorce with her. I let her know I absolutely do not want a divorce. I love her, and that it's not something I want. And the conversation just kind of died there for a while. But she started making these moves toward divorcing, and things became very cold. But I dove headfirst into the materials you folks provide, which are absolutely outstanding.
Thank you.
Backed off of the desperation and kind of tried to settle down a little bit and look at the long game. And we went through a period there where she has withdrawn over the last 4 years, and we've had one conversation since where she really expressed that she feels like the marriage has been basically over for 4 years, and she was basically going along to get along. She doesn't love me anymore. The whole thing. It's very kind of a typical. So where we're at, I've just continued I have not talked about the relationship. When we did have that last conversation, I did ask her if we could please just slow this process down. Because it's, to unwind 33 years together is not an overnight thing.
Right.
And she agreed to that, but then she's made little pushes letting me know, no, this is still happening. It's happening. And we go through periods with her where she's very cold and withdrawn, but then we'll have a day or a day or two where it's better than it's been in 5 years.
Okay.
And it's such mixed signals, and I guess I'm riding this up and down wave.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling so hard with, is this her just being more relaxed and good to me because she knows she's got an end game and she's going to get out? Or is it she's maybe having some second thoughts? Maybe some of the things she said were a little extreme in her mind and she's backpedaling from it. It seems like we'll have a good day. She kind of has a circle of friends that I believe are very toxic to the marriage. And it seems like we'll have a good day, she'll talk with them, and then it's 3 bad days. And then she'll kind of come out the other side. And I'm just riding this wave, and I'm not sure, other than backing off the relationship talk and just kind of going along day to day, if that's the best way to go or what to do. I'm really confused.
I get that. You appear to be, based on what you were saying, I was listening to you there, you tend to be this kind of person that tries to logically analyze everything. Am I correct about that?
You are spot on.
Okay. All right.
Guilty as charged.
Okay. And when you do that, of course, you wind up with like maybe it's this, maybe it's this, maybe it's this, which can actually be more confusing in the long run. But I appreciate the fact that you have that kind of mind, that you can think like that. Now, Patrick, we work on the principle, the basic principle, and there might be an exception to it. I've never seen one, but there might be an exception to it, that people typically don't leave what they have unless they believe what they're going to is better. So what do you think it is that she believes or thinks is better than being with you? Any idea?
Well, based on the past, we could go down a lot of different avenues. There was a period 25 years ago where there was some infidelity on her part.
Okay. Do you think that's happening now?
I never felt like we truly. I have people, of course, that I've confided in that will tell me absolutely it is, but I honestly cannot say that I think that is what's going on.
Okay.
I think it's things that have compounded over the years since then.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you think that in all likelihood, this is what I'm feeding back what I'm hearing. You tell me if I'm hearing it right, okay? Mm-hmm. That some people are planting ideas into her head that if she divorces you, she's going to be better off because of something. In other words, you'll be free, or you can do this, or whatever else. People sometimes leave. Sometimes people leave because the relationship they're in, they perceive it as being very toxic. Like if my husband is controlling or my wife is too demanding, etc. Then we look outside and say, okay, what out here might be drawing somebody? And if you're looking toward that, then it could be a person, obviously, but it also can be a lifestyle, like I want to go drinking and carousing, or it can be just an idea, a dream, like, wow, if this is not quite as fulfilling as I thought it was going to be, they start getting a fantasy of, but out here, there's freedom, and maybe I'll find that Prince Charming, or those kinds of things. And so there's almost always some kind of a push. In other words, there's never a perfect relationship here, but we look to see if there's a big major push, like being controlling or that kind of thing. And then out here we look to, okay, what's drawing? You're saying you don't have any evidence that there's anybody else, so maybe there's not anybody else. And if she's not out drinking and carousing, then it doesn't sound like there's a lifestyle, but it could be. There's a possibility that these people are feeding into her brain that if you get rid of him, then Prince Charming's going to come along. May not be using that phraseology, you understand? But if you're out here, now these people that she's talking to, are they divorced?
Well, some are, yes. There's two very close friends she's had since high school that she had lost connection with and reconnected in the last 5 years. They're both having marital problems, complain about their husbands constantly. They're not making any moves toward divorcing, but it's almost like this is their divorce by proxy. Like they're getting to live through her, and there's some push there.
That actually may be very possible. Go ahead.
The other thing I will say, over the last certainly 4 years, there's been a real loss of emotional intimacy between us. She has withdrawn, and that leads to a loss of certainly physical intimacy as well. So that certainly went very dry also. But there's the one friend in particular that I believe she's literally shifted that emotional intimacy to, and pulled that back from me. And that's where I'm so, and I have kind of tried to gently point that out without being accusing about it. Yeah. And she even admits it. But I think that intimacy is what she's missing, and yet
could be.
It's like she's almost afraid to bring that back to us, and it's what I have been trying to reestablish with her over the years, not just recently. And she was just so resistant. Like, she's having that taken care of elsewhere. I don't need you for this anymore.
That's very possible. Again, you're one of these very logical guys. You're dissecting and pulling it apart in all kinds of ways. And so, may I make a suggestion? And the suggestion is, and you may be actually doing this already anyway, rather than focusing on trying to save the marriage, focus on you. Are you okay?
Okay.
I heard some noise. Are you okay? Yeah. I thought maybe you fell or something. I heard this terrible noise. No.
I'm good.
Okay, all right. Okay, that rather than focus on trying to save the marriage, and I know this sounds counterintuitive, what you do is you focus on becoming the best you can be. You see, the good news I've heard in this is her vacillation. That, she moves this way, then she moves that way, then she moves this way and moves that way. When people are vacillating, it typically means they have not made a hard and firm decision. Therefore, the better you can be, not pushing, but just being there, understanding, listening, because that's really what intimacy is. If you say it slow, you have it. Into me see. People feel intimacy when they feel the other person really understands them. Therefore, the more that you listen, and that can sometimes be difficult for an analytical person who wants to say, well, you're saying this, but you're also saying this. But if you can just listen and try to understand the emotions and feed that back to her, what I hear is that kind of thing. You still got a shot at this based on what you're telling me. The fact that this vacillation's occurring means that there's a possibility that she is potentially developing some intimacy with you slowly but surely. Based on what you're saying, it sounds like her friends are not helping, but you can't do anything about that. Because if you attack them and she's leaning on them emotionally, then she's going to defend them, which turns her against you, and you don't want that. So my suggestion, my friend,
Understood.
my suggestion is try to listen as much as you can. And when this vacillation occurs, don't panic when she vacillates moving away from you. But when she vacillates coming back towards you, be this warm, caring, loving individual as much as you can be, and it gives you a shot at this. Okay?
Okay. And that was what I was thinking, but I guess I needed some confirmation from somebody who's been there, done that.
Okay. All right, my friend. So I love your logic, but right now you're going to have to really relate to her emotions. Okay?
Okay. Outstanding. I really appreciate that.
All right.